and welcome to Next Talks, where we bring you actionable insights and opportunities from trusted advisors to make better and informed decisions for emerging businesses. Now, with every episode, our approach is to be able to not only give you a bird's eye industry view, but also deep dive into challenges and give you specific and personalized solutions catering to your needs. Now, today, on the occasion of World MSME Day, we are celebrating the spirit of small businesses in India. We are deep diving into how emerging businesses can win more leads and gain new customers to grow and scale. On the show today, we have Aishwarya Savarna Neer, a former journalist turned entrepreneur. She is the founder for Global Beauty Secrets, a wellness brand with a vision to revive the lost rituals and unique beauty secrets. Our second guest today is Pushpita Sinha, who has defeated cancer, came up with Pushpita's Artisanal, a homemade pickle brand inspired by her mother's recipes. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining us today on the occasion of World MSME Day.
Thank you so much for having us.
Now, let me start by understanding an overview of the industry, your sector today, from a bird's eye view, as the pandemic has resulted in both threats and opportunities for MSMEs. Now, let me start with you, Ashwarya, and then go to Pushpita.
Right. I think there's a great question because it allows us to exactly talk to you about the various threats and opportunities that our sector has undergone during this really unpredictable scenario. Obviously, before the pandemic, beauty was seeing a massive uptick. Money was flowing into this industry, and the industry was consolidating heavily. And there were new startups coming up, new stories emerging from this sector, and somehow, especially during the pandemic, there was job uncertainty. There were, the disposable income, people were being extremely frugal with it. Suddenly, this category actually started experiencing a downfall. So before, like during the second wave or something, we kind of stabilized into the whole lockdown scenario. We started anticipating that there'd be more such situations. The jobs are not going anywhere. So people became comfortable with shopping online. But during the first wave, beauty was the most vulnerable, one of the most vulnerable industries. We faced a massive, because we were not in essential health industry as well. So we actually faced a massive setback because obviously the regulations were not promoting our supply, the regulations were not promoting our access to the consumers. The regulations were more towards supporting health and wellness sector, and understandably so and fairly so. So overall, as an industry, our first reaction to the pandemic was a setback. We saw a downtick in terms of our sales. We saw, the customers were afraid to, shop online because they were being extremely conservative and frugal with their disposable income. Makeup as a category started seeing one of the biggest downfalls because people suddenly, they were not really careful about, looking good or trying to be a certain way. Even though they were working from home, even though Zoom meetings were going on. But again, there was so much uncertainty. Overall, the first wave had a very big negative reaction for the beauty industry. It is only from the second wave onwards, people started, taking it up as a new normal. Zoom meetings, people started, putting in that effort to, kind of replicate Zoom meetings as a new, a professional meeting setup or a personal meeting setup. So, they started putting in that effort again into trying to look presentable, trying to look groomed, trying to look more professional for these work calls and everything. So, you started seeing like a uptake. Also, it started reflecting on the various beauty and wellness categories as well, what I gather of it.
Right. All right. Pushpita, I'll, come to you next. Trying to understand, how the pandemic has, affected the FMCG sector, both from threats, opportunities. If you can just maybe shed some light on that.
With the new normal for businesses, digitization, I feel, uh, as I see, even the nearby grocery kirana stores which we have nearby our locality, when everybody is getting uh, habituated to digitization, because that is the new normal. Even I personally, as a consumer, uh, I mean, to ease, or save my efforts and time of moving out and shopping, and if I'm getting things which were available in a physical store in the pre-pandemic era, adapting this will be more beneficial for small businesses in terms of such kind of unforeseen challenges that might come in the future. And uh, this digitization should be adopted. I personally feel should be adopted by any businesses, be it a small business or any size of a business. So that is what I see, and definitely the FMCG sector is evolving, and it has a showing a positive prospect in terms of the future growth that it has.
Now, taking that forward, Ashwarya, I want to understand from you what are the challenges and barriers MSMEs face while growing their business. Talk to us about your experience. How was the start, and what was your strategy in generating leads and getting customers initially?
Beyond everything, let's look at some practicals, like the things that would actually help you start up first. So, number one is getting your legal framework and regulatory framework in order. Understanding the kind of industry you are in, what's the macro system like, what are the factors that control this particular industry, how are the government regulations affecting it, how are the government regulations shaping up in that particular industry, how are you looking at supply and demand, and while at the same time adhering to that business setup. For example, in cosmetics, it's we are under the regulations of the Drugs and Cosmetics Act. We are supervised by the government of India. We are supervised by the local state FDA wherever we are producing and selling. So the kind of approvals that we would need before prior to when we release a product. I mean, it's obviously okay to always make like a blend at home and then just like put it up for sale online. But in our industry, like if you want to work with something more sustainable, it's always advisable to go via the government FDA approval route, because that's how you also kind of communicate formulation safety to your consumers. It's one thing to say, oh, I'm a natural product versus, oh, I'm a pH balanced, lab tested, FDA approved product. So I went for the other route. I definitely wanted my consumer to feel safe, regardless of wherever they are, and that's why I made sure that we had all the regulations in place. And other thing, Anusua, that I started experiencing while running my business is copyright infringement. I started realizing very quickly that it's very easy to rip off communication. It's very easy to rip off brand assets, creative assets from in our business. And I soon started noticing a few fashion houses that had just picked up my logo randomly. I started noticing brands in my space who had just taken away my brand tagline. And that is why the next thing that I wanted to do was secure these creative properties. So I went for copyright protection. It took me 3 years, and lots of court appointment later, I finally was able to get a registered trademark on my logo. I was finally able to protect my copyright on my design assets. So, regulatory and legal framework is one thing that you definitely want to watch out for before you start a business. Second thing that I think follow certain business fundamentals, right? Like in terms of setting up your marketing strategy, follow the 4 Ps. And I think that is something, I initially went wrong with. I went wrong with the 4 Ps, the famous Kotler's 4 Ps, product, people, price, and place. Just get these 4 right whenever you're setting up. What is your product? Who are your people? Is your wherever you are choosing to sell, is it the right place to sell, and is your pricing the right fit for your customer? So I think that is something like most of the startups and new brands take some time to adjust to and fall into. which so like I have had quite a lot of journey within those 4 P's itself. So if you're starting up, definitely watch out for them. Really like to send out.
Pushpita, you have been accelerating digital using social media to expand your business pan India successfully. Now, if you can come in on this and tell our audience how to nurture curious prospects and gain new customers through the marketing and sales strategies, and what MSMEs should keep in mind when it comes to business expansion.
So first thing, from my own experience, I started off. I had a background of food blogging, and from my region, especially from my community. So that was an added advantage for me. But then overall, if I say if I am starting out, then definitely it is very important to use marketing tools. And right now, it's age of technology that we are living in, and social media is very very powerful, impactful, and I feel so that even a person who is based out of even the remotest part of the country, they are all accessing social media. So it is an excellent opportunity for startups who are beginning, I mean, or for beginners who intend to get into any kind of enterprises, that the power of marketing is endless. And then if you are into a particular segment of your industry, so you have to look at the existing brands, and I keep on researching and I keep on studying, because even I as the core team, I am not an expert, but definitely if you start off at the initial stage and if you are a single founding member, I feel like you have to be more of a generalist business owner. So you know, you should be knowing the part of your product development, be it the marketing. I mean, every nitty-gritty of having a business has to be known by you at the initial stage. So for me, it was more of like I keep on learning. And for businesses who are struggling with sales, I feel like definitely marketing is very very essential. I feel like sometimes I have been advised by peers from the startup system, like, why don't you have an own website? So the thing is, I can go ahead with that idea, but then the thing is, for me, I need to create contents, and back to side by side, I need to take care of everything right from the entire production process. And right now, since I have got two new recruits since last month, so I need to handle everything. I need to be the core team. I need to have my support working in the right way, because I don't want there should be any kind of quality issues, so that that authenticity of that products and the brand is retained like it has started since the inception. And definitely, if there are collaboration opportunities which any businesses, new businesses, they come up with, or any kind of tie-ups that will be beneficial for your brand, and for your brand to gain more visibility and audience, at least out of those 10 to 20 set of potential customers, you will definitely get at least one or two customers. And those customers, if your product is unique and authentic, I feel that that word of mouth, that particular one or two customers at the initial point of time that you achieve, will definitely help you get more customers.
Now, this is a question to both of you. I'll start with Ashwarya and then go to Pushpita for advice on their respective industries. I want to decode how to increase brand awareness with inbound marketing and get yourself out there in this already populated market and tackle competition. How to strategize your unique selling point, USP, and sell your brand and make it stand out.
Again, I think it's a great question for it, sort of fundamentally addresses a big business question that any startup has to answer before they actually start up. What makes your product stand out? What is so special about your product? And brand managers fret over this again and again. But essentially, when you're starting up, you feel like you have an idea. You obviously do an initial primary research, you vet it out with people. I did that. I stood in front of shops, and I personally interviewed consumers as to, oh, which is the product which is on top of your mind, which is the product that you would be interested in buying. Would a concept like this work for you? What is the price that you're willing to pay? Where would you be, which are the various avenues that you would be willing to shop it out of? So I did the primary research myself. I didn't even go the secondary way. I didn't even, go to Mintel and not to name names, but I didn't go to these big, really big names to get my research, because I really wanted to first understand if what I have in mind is the consumer, is the consumer willing to pay for it? If you believe in the idea, I really believed in the idea that, in our Indian market, when natural and chemical were two of the biggest broad categories that were out there, and natural was the leading category back then in 2018. I think the active and the chemical play has just sweep the beauty industry very recently. But back when we started in 2018, natural was the leading category. And in natural, you only had the Ayurveda story that was playing up again and again. So I really believed in the story that no, we can talk about natural ingredients in a way that goes beyond Ayurveda. We can talk about other cultures. We can talk about other traditions. We can talk about women, the people that we are actually selling to. Do you know that even though, like, so many of these men that I interviewed, they did not, they were not shopping for themselves. It was actually women who were shopping for them, and they just knew of one premium brand. So I did know that, oh, here is like a very major um, demographic, but the brands are not talking to them. The brands are not inspired from them. The brands are only selling to them and further imposing beauty standards on them. They are just telling them, oh, how you should look and stuff like that. And they are setting up all these aspirational beauty standards for them, but they are not like really inspired by them. They do not have them inherent in their story. So I knew that the next thing for a new beauty brand to do in this space was to in fact take inspiration from women, to give back in any way possible to this demographic that has actually been the biggest key shopper for this category. I knew that we have to talk about beyond Ayurveda. I knew that we have to talk about beauty secrets and beauty rituals from around the world. So I was very clear in my USP. The execution had a few initial setbacks. Um, the idea is to not get intimidated by these setbacks. You do not have to feel defeated by the few initial failures that you come across. Hold your ground.
All right. I believe that Pushpita, for you, it is natural ingredients also as well. So, if I may ask you, how to strategize USP when it comes to a FMCG brand and sell your brand, coming from a state like Manipur?
The USP, I suppose that from the survey, from a small online survey that I had conducted 2 years ago, that is in 2020, just during the lockdown period. So I saw that people who had never tried, they were quite curious about trying the products, because it has that tag of being a product from the Northeast. I guess so. That was one positive. Uh, uh, I should say, rather, it was in that particular thing was in my favor, and it was exotic, and more than being a mass produced products. These were produced in small batches and freshly made, so that gave the products more advantage, being even on a tiny basis, or on a micro level, but that set of uniqueness about the products, I think so. Majorly the originality being an authentic and an exotic products from the Northeast, that was a cutting edge for my brand to survive throughout. Even during the pandemic, there were there were demand for homemade pickles. The USP should be more of, be original and be authentic. And if your idea is genuinely unique, then definitely your products will stand apart in the market, even if there are existing players, major players uh, in that product category, and or the product in that segment of your product.
So, Aishwarya, you have made a company from scratch, built on something which is your passion, which is so important in fighting all odds and keeping at it. I'm sure there are many out there who dream of being an entrepreneur like you. If I were to ask you, what are the steps to build a brand from ground zero?
I think I do strongly feel that there is one key fundamental that you need before you actually start up and you start building on anything, despite having a clearer picture in your head of how it is supposed to be. You need a very strong and motivated team. Like, I have not done this on my own. It's not me. There have been times and there have been months where I have just, blacked out. Like, I have zoned out, I have had massive brain fogs. I have not been able to, I'm not the hero in this story. It's not me, it's my team. They are the ones who have, and especially the ones who have stayed on in the longer term, who have believed in the brand beyond me. They are the ones who have actually carried the baton. I would want to say a big thank you to them. It is because of them that that I'm here talking to you about, oh, how I built this brand from the scratch. A strong and motivated team is the key. They are the biggest believers and they will believe in the brand even when you don't. So before you start out and start up, make sure, and despite having a good strategy into, obviously you need a very good financial partner. If you're investing your own savings, then be all the more frugal. But like, if you have a financial partner, thoroughly vet them. Obviously it's great if someone is ready to finance your business and finance your ideas, but thoroughly vet them. Like, see if they are in it for the long term. What's their vision? How many such other brands that they have worked with you? It's not just them choosing you, it's also you choosing them. Remember, you are in control. It's not that you are weak and you are just you just need like people to help you and support you. Remember that if you believe in your idea and your idea is the next big thing and you have the ability to make it the next big thing, then you need to have all of these fundamentals placed very carefully and selected very carefully for yourself for that.
Pushpita, I'll let you have the last word. What is the message you want to put out to the emerging businesses on this day and age on the occasion of World MSME Day? Businesses who are the growth engines of the Indian economy, who have seen it all in the past 2 years.
So I would like to share this message that believe in your idea, as Ashwarya has mentioned. You need to believe in your idea to let others believe in your idea, and definitely the brand will exist and it will strive, and it will survive definitely. And even after 2 years of the pandemic, we have seen that the MSME sector has witnessed a positive impact as economy started reopening. And I would like to stress once again here that adopt digitization, and your online presence should be a priority for your brand, for your organization. Be original, be authentic. That is how you can stand apart from everybody else. So that is what I would like to say on this occasion of World MSME Day to all the businesses. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Pushpita. Thank you, Aishwarya, so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us, and I'm so thrilled to share this platform with someone who has overcome personal challenges and then started up. So great job there, Pushpita. I think defeating cancer is not an easy thing, and I'm sure you have one unique thing that every entrepreneur breed shares, and that is sheer willpower. So yeah, here's to entrepreneurs, here's to MSMEs, and here's to a strong willpower to defeat all odds.
Uh, Thank you, Ashwarya. Thank you, Anushya, and the entire team Tata Nexarch for giving me this opportunity. And more power to all the MSMEs. That is what I would like to say, and that is how I would like to conclude for today's discussion. Thank you, Anushya, once again.
Thank you, Anuswa. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Tata Nexark.
And as for you, I hope all this advice turns into meaningful opportunities. Well, that is it then on this Next Talks Masterclass. Stay tuned. We have a lot more coming for you on business automation, fintech solutions, talent retention, and much more. For now, goodbye from the team. Many thanks for watching.